And Fisherman's Friends, one and all, is the next one that we're going to talk about. Sharon, would you like to take us away?
Yes, this is a sequel to the 2019 film, I believe, called Fisherman's Friends, and it is broadly or loosely based on real events. There is a band from St Ives, I believe it is, called no Port Isaac's Fisherman's Friends, and they were formed in the village and they sang sea shanties together. They were noticed, and then they were offered a record deal, and then they became a bit of a phenomena for a while. But since then, they have been around for a while. And this is a sequel to the unexpected success, I think, of Fisherman's Friends, and it's called Fisherman's Friends One and All. And it basically sees, I would describe it when I was talking to Shaun about this when we saw it together. You could almost say it was like that difficult second album.
Yes.
And the film is about the difficult second album. They've had their first album, they've had the success, and things aren't going so well for the Fisherman's Friends, also the members of it. One of the key events of the first film was the death of a parent of one of the singers, who happened to also be part of the band. And he's just lost his sort of joy for singing and his joy for being part of Fisherman's Friends. And he has become on this descent to like self-destructiveness. And that is the character played by James Purefoy. And much of the film is about him, basically. It's about his journey through almost like the breaking up of the band, because he's lost that passion for it, because it was through his dad, basically, that he had found his love of singing, his love of performing. And so you see his life in crisis, and then it also draws in the story of the Fisherman's Friends, how they move on with their lives, having been so successful that people in the street take photographs of them, and that they are asked to advertise fish fingers and things like that. So it's that conflict between them doing what they love and then life intruding, and then them trying to find a way through. So without going into specifics, that's broadly it. It's the troublesome second album, and how do you follow up that success of the first?
So I mean, everything that you're saying that makes it sound like it could actually be applied to the film, like the troublesome second film, because the first one seemed to be like quite well received, and then they're now this from okay, I didn't watch the first one, but this feels like a sequel that's trying to squeeze every last bit of money from the concept. Do they pull it off, Shaun?
Okay, well, for me, I haven't seen the first one, so I mean, I'm like you, Toes, and I never saw the first one, so I was quite interested in this. For me, I don't know. I personally speaking, I some of the acting I felt a bit sort of I wasn't convinced in. Maybe is there? I don't know, Sharon. Maybe you know. Is there some characters that maybe were in the real, or were they all actors?
No, they're all actors.
They're all actors, yeah. So and I wasn't convinced with a few of
Sean's like, in that case, no excuse.
you know,
in the first film, you do see the real Fisherman's Friends. They have a pub quiz, and they're in the background. So when I went to see it with my brother, I went like, "Oi, there they are," because they're all like the different teams are all members of the Fisherman's Friends. Yeah. So you do see the real guys in the first film. I
thought the you know, some of the scenery was really nice to see. I think what it was I was expecting an upbeat film, but perhaps I was expecting, you know, like loads of old she you know, 50 men on a dead man's chest and all that. And maybe I was expecting it to be a singy song, but like Sharon said, this was very much a bit of a downer, really. I thought, you know, it was like, you know, for me personally, I'm not saying it's a bad movie or anything like that. It's just that I wasn't enamored with it. It didn't really appeal to me. And I felt it was a little bit too long as well, but maybe that was... Maybe it was expectations.
Yeah, because some of the key elements in this film are dealing with grief, how you deal with that, and dealing with not overnight success, because they've been singing a long time, but suddenly beginning in the public eye. So it was there was these sort of somber notes to it. But I agree with Shaun. I mean, I liked the first film. But this one, you just wanted them to sing.
Yes,
it's like, you know, we're here for the Fisherman's Friends.
Really. Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
We want to hear a bit more. And they started to sing. Then they'd only sing like a verse and a chorus, and then it would like cut to the drama, and it'd be like, just give us a song.
Yeah, yes.
And I feel one of the characters, I'm trying to think his name. He was the Welsh guy, Morgan, and he is a brilliant actor, and he literally was introduced as this extra fisherman's friend, and Richard Harrington, great actor in all sorts of things, but he barely got a word in.
No, that's it.
And I thought completely wasted. And it really was James Purefoy's film, which isn't a bad thing, because I do like James Purefoy. But I felt that as a fisherman's friends film, you want to hear them singing.
Singing, yeah. I would have liked that.
It's not a spoiler because it says it. I think it's in the trailer. They do go to Glastonbury, and it's like another subtitle of the film could be The Road to Glastonbury. But that is almost like just tacked on the end. The film isn't really about that. You do see them at Glastonbury, but it isn't about the journey. It's like a personal one of this man's journey through his grief and his sort of learning to live with that and learning to find new ways of coping with his circumstances. And it's his journey, not the journey of the fisherman's friends to Glastonbury. So I feel like it was almost slightly misleading to call it a fisherman's friends film when it's really about one man's journey through navigating his way through life without someone he loved.
Right. So, Sharon, I'd like to say thank you very much for the public service you've just done in teaching me how to pronounce his last name, because all these years I have been saying Purefoy. So, Purefoy, never realized that never even crossed. I was just saying Purefoy. All right, go. But how many stars would you guys give this?
I'd give it a 3. I thought I liked it. There's lots to like about it because of its somber note, but it didn't quite deliver what you really wanted, which was the fisherman's friends singing shanties. Yeah. So I would give it a 3.
Yeah, I'd agree with Sharon. I think I was expecting quite a few, because there was only probably 1 or 2 actual shanties until Glastonbury that were actually in the whole film. So it probably disappointed me a little bit, but it's not that bad that it deserves a 2. So I'll have to give it a 3 as well. So I'll give it a 3 as well.
We're gonna have to wait for Fisherman's Friends the musical, Shaun.
Okay.
And then we might get that. All right, cool. And now we go back to Netflix.